Back when I was a wee little rat, I saw a cute movie on the shelves of Redbox about a girl and a doll, and I thought to myself, wow, cute! I want to consume this one! And unknowingly, I watched probably one of the scariest pieces of media my dumb little 9-year-old brain couldn't comprehend, and was left scarred and afraid. Also, Lalaloopsy came out that year, and it did not help my newly developed doll fears, not to mention my sister owned it, so at night I'd wake up and I'd see the terrifying thing in the corner of my room lying in wait.
Shazzy, didn't you have one too?
That is besides the point. The point is, when I first watched Coraline, I was scared, I was dumb, and I avoided anything to do with Coraline. And then later on, in my adult years, I decided to sit down to watch the movie that scared me as a kid, and wow, this animation company is really cool. Cool is an understatement, but Laika as a creator of movies capture a certain charm and is amazing. Growing up, I really loved movies like Wallace and Gromit and Fantastic Mr. Fox. Stop motion was always so cool to me. I never did more than admire it from afar since I was busy trying to learn the 2D media first. I still am, to be honest. But stop motion has always been cool and it's still small, and I kind of believe that. Recently, I sat down with some friends and watched the other Laika films after realizing there's more than just that first one. And instantly I was teleported into a fantastical world of whimsy and humans spending thousands of hours making a face move one frame. So, here's my personal tier list of the films from enjoyable to masterpiece in my personal opinion. And as a disclaimer, I'm in no way a professional when it comes to films. I just enjoy watching things, and here's my totally biased thoughts. Everyone will have a different opinion, so please feel free to tell me what your personal top favorites are, and let's go! Alright, number 5, Kubo and the Two Strings. Kubo was a beautiful tale of adventure and self-discovery and family. The way they animated the paper scenes had me in awe. I can only imagine how long it took to make that, and Kubo uses that magic a lot throughout the film. While watching, I couldn't help but be amazed at it. The locations that they visit are all so unique, and fit its theme well. One thing that I love about Laika is their way of introducing many different cultures and settings in their films, and the step that they took here in the Asia setting really felt right. Even if I never personally had experience in the setting as a Hispanic American, I really appreciate it and hope that it's to the standards for the viewers of that ethnicity and culture. The reason why this film is last is solely based on story. Visuals aside, any story can look good on paper, but execution, delivery, and plot are very important. It's not a bad story, it's very nice, but it's very predictable. Straight away I understood that Mr. Monkey was the mother and Beetle was the father. It would have been nice if we could see it develop without knowing, and well, I guess they did try that. They tried to keep it very mysterious, but maybe I'm just really good at picking up those things more than the average child watching. But since it was so predictable, I can see the plot happening before my eyes. And is it just me, or did the ending feel undeserved? Killing off the parents? Sure. I guess? I kinda didn't want them to die, but it does make it tragic to Kubo. The only problem is I felt nothing. They were killed and I felt nothing, which I'm an emotional rat. I cry at a lot of things, but I don't think they were important enough to cry over. And if anything, I was just mad that Kubo let his grandfather live. After all the trouble and heartache he caused, Kubo was the better man and let him live, and the whole town just gaslit this has-been god into thinking he's an incredible person and he'll raise Kubo. As far as I know, Kubo mainly raised himself. His mother's memories were so gone, I'm sure that he spent most of his time taking care of her rather than the other way around. He doesn't need any more parental guidance, as bad as that sounds. Now Kubo's gonna spend the rest of his life taking care of his grandfather the same exact way he did to his mother, only this time he'll tell him stories until the old man dies. It's a very pretty movie, but there's more that I wanted to see from it. Number 4, Boxtrolls. The trolls world is in devastation as a species that lives only to feed the berg, to give them happiness until the king one day devises a plan to escape on the prince's birthday. Oh, wrong trolls. Boxtrolls is incredibly cute. The trolls themselves are adorable. I love that they're just little guys that are so curious about things and want to make things from old things, which it's such a premise that I love. Just little adventures. Set in the British lands, the story and goal is set when we realize that one single person is going through so many deeds to get their place up in the world of hierarchy, Madame Frou Frou. The poor drag queen turns out to be sinister and only has one goal in mind, and somehow for 10 years has been slowly going about the huge lie they installed in the public. Personally, I think Madame Frou-Frou should have gotten an OF. If you know, you know. Then she'd get a white hat for sure. I really do like this movie. There's only 5, remember, and story-wise, I don't have any qualms. Moving forward, I think it's all up to preference compared to the other bangers. X is a cute character. The little girl who has a dark, edgy side that really should be looked at as cute character. I'd lay down my life for Fish. And Father sucks so much. He did not care about his daughter or even the town, just his love of cheese. It's so silly that the upper society is just so invested in the most sharpest of cheddar, the stinkiest of feta, the moldiest of gorgonzola. Am I missing something? Is cheese like a huge delicacy in England? Because my boy Wallace also had his fair share of wants, you know? But story-wise, finding out the story of the the baby, and realizing, hey, this town low-key dummy in the head, just believe in a tale when the kid is well and healthy. Like, maybe it was obvious, but it wasn't led to be that big of a reveal. What was revealing was when the Boxtrolls were nice and Madame Frou-Frou was not an elegant, suave soul. She was indeed evil. Who knew? It was a very fun watch, personally. Number 3, Missing Link. I'm sure by now you're realizing that this movie isn't lower on the list, and I can explain. I had such a good laugh at it. I'm a simple rat. Humor gets to me. I love a good comedy, and the way they wrote their jokes in this, it's so classic. I loved it. I loved Susan, Frost, the hot Hispanic lady that I can't remember the name of right now, but I might throw it on the screen. Yes, right there. The bald assassin whose head looks more like a loaf of bread than a scar to me. It's just so nice. Also, I know Frost was rizzing the lady. I didn't care about them. The one he was most freaky with was Susan, and I will not be taking any other suggestions. Missing Link? More like Freaky Link. The travel was fun, the details in the world were so cool, and the writing of the dialogue kept me entertained. And I'm not gonna lie, I saw like one single promotion of this movie, and it was a standee cutout at a movie theater, and I had no idea this was a Laika film, or what it was even about. My thought, maybe day-to-day life of a Sasquatch. No wonder I didn't watch it personally, and I heard absolutely no buzz about it. Let me tell you, if you've never seen it, please do. It's not a slice of life. It's an adventure, and honestly, Susan isn't even the main character. This is all about Frost, and if you like Puss in Boots and The Last Wish, the dynamic of the group gives those vibes. You're welcome. Honorable mention. I'm gonna mention this before we get to the last 2 because I just know you guys are itching to see what my number 1 is. But I'd like to take the time to mention the short film that Laika made back in 2005, Moon Girl. It's a bit weird. It looks CGI animated, so I'm thinking that was the premise Laika was going to go into before committing to stop motion. I could be very wrong though, I don't know my facts. It looks personally like the animation is Scary Godmother, and while it's uncanny and ugly, you can tell they were trying something out. I won't spoil this 9-minute short too much, but if you're interested in it, it is on YouTube. Wink. Number 2. And so, the reveal of which movie is my number 1, the movie at number 2 spot is Coraline. From what I know, Coraline is many people's number 1, and for good reason. It's the one everyone remembers the most. It's the one with the big fan base. The one that constantly still gets merched to this day. Brother, you too can have Coraline's silk pajamas for only 150 USD. What a steal. And honestly, had I not watched the other films before this, I would have been content in this movie being automatically number 1 based on those facts alone, to be honest. Coraline, for being a first film, is hard-hitting. The story is clever, the scenery is magnificent, it captures the fall season so well, and how dreary the world is during that time. You think fall is pumpkin, sunflowers, and pumpkin spice? Wrong. While it can be, fall is usually wet, dreary, foggy, cold with a few good days sprinkled in before the winter rolls in, and Coraline's atmosphere gets that. Coraline is scary. As a kid, I was scared of this movie for years. The ending sequence with when the mother starts chasing Coraline is like nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. It piques the weird kid hearts out there, you know? Coraline has blue hair, and everybody knows that blue-haired girls are super alt. Again, it's a movie for the girlies who are different. One of my favorite things is Coraline has a lot of symbolism in it. From the first sequence being the way a mortician handles a dead body to the doll, to the fog in the background getting worse throughout the film. There's so much to analyze to the point where it's less of a watching of a movie and more of a critique on ways to make the audience think that are into that sort of thing. Not to mention, for the time, it's really cool how Coraline moves and was animated. It's very inspiring for a wee person to get into stop motion. And of course, over the next movies, the animation only got better and more fluid, but seeing it in its first state is just something to be admired. A very good number one pick, I'd say. But my number one is ParaNorman. Where do I begin? I only just watched this a few days ago, and all I can think is, wow. The tone, the setting, the world, the main character, the humor, the gaze. I adore this movie. I didn't think I'd enjoyed it as much as I did. There was something about it. I really liked how Norman slowly learned he wasn't alone in this world after constantly being bullied. As someone who felt alone throughout high school and being left on their own, I really felt for him. I related to him, and that's one of the reasons why it moved up to the top. I love the character designs. They're all weird and dynamic in their own ways. It gives so much character, and I'm a person who loves character design. It tickles my fancy, and man, so good. All of the shapes and points on everyone, and so unique to themselves. The town they reside in, having the weird witch lore that so impacted their lives, only to be part of a curse, is so good. And I will say, the ending where he helps the girl fall asleep and be at peace where she used to be with her mother so long ago, I cried. I didn't expect this movie to make me cry, but it did, and I loved it. It felt like such a good ending for her, and for the film. Also, her going crazy and attacking Norman as he got closer and relating to her was so good. It was so animated, it was so good. I really want to rewatch it again, especially since it's spooky season now. I'm definitely just gonna rewatch it a couple more times to get my fill. It may not have lots of attention to detail as Coraline did, but I enjoyed watching it. And that's why ParaNorman takes my top. And that was my tier list. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Comment which movies are your personal top favorites, because these are a lot of bangers. And the next Laika movie, Wildwood, coming out, I'm kind of really excited for, because I actually did read this book growing up. I read it when I was probably like middle school aged, and even though I don't remember much of the story now, I'm just really excited to see something that I kind of know being like the next film. And maybe I'll give it like a reread before I watch the movie, or I'll probably like keep myself like fresh and watch the movie and be like, oh my god, I remember this part. That'd be cute, you know? Well, I hope everyone has a good day, have a good night, have a good wherever you are. I'm out.